And good day. Welcome to another Coffee with EMCSA session with myself, Rob Walker. And today we are joined on the line by Mr. Prian Reddy from GreenCape. Prian, good afternoon. How are you?
I'm good, and you?
Fantastic. Nice to see you again. Priyan, a quick introduction for those who don't know. You are a senior analyst in sustainable mobility and energy storage at GreenCape. Give us a little bit of a background. How did you find your way to GreenCape? What kind of led you in this direction?
Sure. So I'm a civil engineer by degree. I completed my undergraduate in a BSc in civil engineering. And then I discovered that I had a passion for transportation. So I followed that up with a master's in civil engineering, focusing on sustainable mobility. When I graduated, I then joined a smart mobility company based in Cape Town, where I worked there for about 3 years. But always my passion was to get into the electric vehicle industry. And so that led me to GreenCape. That's how I got here.
Fantastic. And then talk to us a little bit more. I mean, what is your kind of, people who know GreenCape obviously know it's, research arm. Talk to us a little bit more detail about what GreenCape does and maybe your day-to-day involvement in GreenCape.
Sure. So GreenCape is a non-profit company. We were established in 2010 by the Western Cape Department of Economic Development and Tourism as a green economy development agency. And so our mandate is to analyze the green economy, look for market and investment opportunities, identify what the barriers are to the growth of those industries, and to implement projects that remove those barriers and bring in jobs and investment. So we have 3 programs: energy, water, and the circular economy. I sit on the energy program, and I am the sector desk analyst for sustainable mobility. So I'd look at what is the EV industry doing in South Africa. Is it growing? Why isn't it growing? What are the blockages? Are there policy barriers? Are there investment barriers? Are there energy security barriers that may be preventing EV uptake, and how we can increase investment in that sector?
And I mean, let's speak practically now. I mean, obviously, you guys do all this research. You put everything. Who uses the information that you guys put out? So you guys put all the stuff together. You identify barriers, policies. Who's the main consumers of what you guys put together?
So GreenCape works at the intersection between government, academia, and private sector. So within business and the private sector, I sort of have a cluster of EV companies that I communicate with almost on a daily or weekly basis. So it's not just about doing research and putting out. So what you're referring to is our knowledge products. So that's the market intelligence reports, the case studies, the industry briefs. So producing knowledge products is a way of disseminating information to the industry, but that's not the only way. So that's one way through publishing. The other is through networking and industry events that we host at GreenCape offices, where we invite stakeholders to come in and have a discussion about what challenges and barriers they are facing. In particular, in government, we sit on the electric vehicle task team in the Western Cape. So that's a mechanism dealing with policy barriers. So that's how we overcome policy barriers and work that needs to be done with government. And then with academia, so there it's more a case of, are the areas of the market where there's an R&D solution that's required to remove a barrier. So mostly it's commercialization of emerging startups, and then we do climate finance as well. So we have a green finance team.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen that the Climate Finance Accelerator that we held recently. There were 14 finalist companies that we groomed them, helped them with a product company pitch, took them through an acceleration process where they then pitched to a panel of investors, trying to help bridge that financing gap. So yeah, it's policy, financing in terms of skills. We also have a skills program. So I don't know if you know Saratech, the renewable energy skill center. That was one of GreenCape's projects. So that was a project we created to bridge the skills gap in the renewable energy sector, because it was an emerging, growing sector in the Western Cape area. That was how we felt we could bridge that skills barrier. Then the Atlanta Special Economic Zone, many people don't know that that was one of GreenCape's first projects when we were first established. So obviously the biggest impact on investment and jobs in the green economy is through manufacturing and industrialization. And so that idea of a green economy, industrialization, special economic zone was conceptualized at GreenCape and then implemented until it's at a stage now where it runs as an independent entity. So I think I've covered most of the areas that we work. Yeah.
Perfect. So let's talk about, I mean, your discussion at EMCSA this year. Obviously, you know, our theme is that, you know, South Africa is a EV ready ecosystem, and you're talking around unpacking what is the EV ecosystem and then the associated value chain. So what can our attendees and people tuning in, you know, what can they expect to hear from yourself? I mean, obviously, your role at GreenCape does make you a central kind of pivot in this whole thing. And as you mentioned, you know, GreenCape forms that bridge between government, private sector, policy, academia. You guys kind of straddle that whole middle ground. What can people expect to hear from you, you know, come April this year?
Sure. So I think what people can expect to hear is that the electric vehicle sector is vibrant and it's growing, and there's a lot of market potential for investment and jobs creation, not only just here in Cape Town, but across South Africa. And I think there's a perception when people think EV is the only thing, private passenger vehicles, but there's so much more happening in the industry, from the use of electric micro vehicles in last mile delivery that's really taking off because it's a good business case there, to electrification of public transport. If you look at Golden Arrow's electric bus trials, Flex EV electric minibus taxi project is going to be launched this year, and the recent establishment of an electric bus plant in Pretoria. So Y-Power is now manufacturing electric buses locally. So that's really exciting because it sort of broadens your scope, right? And people always comment that EVs are expensive, only a certain income range can benefit from the EV transition. What about the average person? And so electrification of public transport sort of bridges that gap, right? Because you just increase the market access of people that can be a part of the EV transition. So in a nutshell, yeah, the vibrancies and the market opportunities that exist.
Perfect. And I think that's really talking to kind of the EV value chain. I mean, I think a lot of people who talk EVs, they just think it's buying them off a showroom floor, and you know, the value chain is. And I think unpacking that to understand how that value chain can dramatically benefit a country like South Africa, which does have, you know, economic challenges that we do have, is incredibly valuable.
Yeah, and so one of our key priorities at GreenCape is to push for electric vehicle manufacturing in South Africa and sort of the localization of components. And I think an interesting case study is the electric three-wheeler company Melovans, based in Stellenbosch, and they've actually achieved a 70% local component input into their electric three-wheelers that they build here. And last year they exported some of the first electric three-wheelers from South Africa to the European market as well, which is quite cool for the industry. And that's the sort of localization and manufacturing value chain that we hope to see rolled out in the bus industry. So Golden Arrow is coming towards the end of their electric bus pilot project. So they're looking to procure 60 electric commuter buses from 2024 onwards. And so I've spoken to them, and they're very pro-local manufacturing, and they want those bus bodies to be made locally. So there's a big industrialization opportunity, manufacturing electric buses locally, but also the renewable energy, right? So electric vehicles and renewable energy goes hand in hand. And I think Reddy and Neatling modeled in one of his presentations that they need 80 to 100 megawatts of renewable energy if they had a fully electric fleet of 1,100 buses. That's a massive opportunity for independent power producers in South Africa to come on board and support fleets that are going electric, because you will need industry partnerships. GAPs won't be able to do that or meet the energy requirements on their own. So it's really exciting to see how EVs, electrification of public transport, is incentivizing private uptake of renewable energy and wheeling and all the work that's been going into making that happen. Yeah, it's really exciting. Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, Prian, I mean, let's not give too much away. It's great to have people like yourself, because often people identify the gap between the policymakers and what's happening, in academia, the research side, but also what the private sector wants. So I'm really excited to hear from yourself and hear what you guys are going to share with us. Any closing thoughts that you'd like to share with everyone before we kind of let you go to get on with your busy day?
Yeah, no, I think it's an exciting time to be in the electric vehicle industry in South Africa. There's a lot happening. I think the recent banning of ICE vehicles by 2035 in the European Union is going to be a massive lever towards getting our 7 local OEMs to transition towards making EVs locally. I'm still waiting to hear the official announcement from government regarding their tax incentives to help the manufacturing industry, but I'm confident that it will happen. Looking forward.
Fantastic. Awesome. Well, Prian, thank you very much for your time today. It's been great to chat to you. Look forward to hearing what you have to share with us come April. And from myself and the whole EMCSA team, thank you very much for your time, sir.
Okay. Cheers. Have a good day. Bye.
Fantastic. So that was Prian Reddy from GreenCape sharing with us some insights into his session at this year's EMCSA. For myself, Rob, and the whole team at EMCSA, we hope you have a good day. Goodbye.